Hey, what's up, everybody? Slammer35 here, and today I want to talk about Ubisoft. So, apparently, a few days ago, the studio head for Beyond Good and Evil 2 has left Ubisoft and is no longer working there. And not only that, but apparently, a lot of the development team is experiencing a lot of burnout and wanting to go on sick leave. And I can't blame them for that at all. Like, this game has been in quote unquote early development since 2022. Well, actually, this game has really been in development since 2007, 2008. Like, I still remember seeing the original trailer for this game where it had like Jade and Paige stranded out in the desert, and Paige was working on the car. Like, I still remember seeing that original trailer for that game all those years back. It's crazy how long this game has been in development. This game has been in development so long that initially when that original trailer first came out, I had never even played Beyond Good and Evil. I remember seeing it in the store shelves a lot back then, but I never played it originally. Then fast forward however many years later, and then the HD version of the game comes out for the PS3 and Xbox 360. I bought the game on the PS3 sometime after that. Then I played it some initially, but wasn't really feeling it at the time, so I didn't get very far before I just quit playing it. Then you fast forward some more years later, and I decided to pick the game up again and give it another chance. And I actually played through and finished the whole game this time, and I wound up enjoying it quite a bit too at the end. And this whole story happens across a span of about 8 years apparently. So this game has been in development so long that I've had time to actually play the game like 8 years after its original release with the HD version of the game. Stop playing partway in, pick the game back up again like 8 years later, and then finally actually play through the entire game. I've had time to do all of that, and this game's sequel still isn't out. That that's crazy. That's actually really crazy. That's insane how long this game has been in development. I've seen comments from people that say that this game has been in development for so long that they've had time to grow up, go to college, finish college, and start families of their own. Like, that's really mind blowing when you sit there and think about it like that. As a matter of fact, this game has been in development so long that as of October or November of 2022, it's now officially become the longest game in development in history, actually surpassing Duke Nukem Forever, which was in development for 14 years. I don't know, man. Like, it's rough. It's real rough for Ubisoft right now. Ubisoft right now just has some terrible luck with being able to put out any games lately. Like, what was even the last game Ubisoft put out? I feel like it's been a while since a Ubisoft developed game released. I can't even think of what like the last game they put out was it right now. Like half of their games have been like half of their games have been canceled, and then the other half are just stuck in development hell. Namely, the game that inspired this video, Beyond Good and Evil 2, and Skull and Bones. Remember Skull and Bones? And that game is currently having its own troubled development. Last I heard about it, even the game's playtesters were saying it wasn't very good from what they played of it. I'm convinced the only reason that they haven't canceled that game is because they have a contractual obligation from like the Singapore government or something like that to finish it. So they have to finish Skull and Bones. They have no choice. If it wasn't for that, I feel like that game would have been canceled by now, or at least put on hold. Oh, and also, what about that Avatar game? Because if you remember, Ubisoft said that they were doing a new Avatar game to coincide with the new movie coming out. Well, the new Avatar movie has come out now already, and then the game is nowhere to be seen. I can't even remember what the last update of that game even was. I don't know if they even had what and I don't even know like what whatever that last update could have been, because I haven't really even been following the game anyway, so they may have said something about it. I just didn't see it. I don't know. I haven't really seen anything about it, just from like what little bit of gaming news that I glimpsed. I don't know where the Avatar game is at. I would hate to work at Ubisoft, man. Like I said earlier in the video, they say a lot of the devs there are leaving and experiencing burnout, and I don't blame them at all. I mean, imagine working for years of your life on the same one thing with seemingly no light at the end of the tunnel. Like you spend time making some progress for a while, only for it to eventually be scrapped or having to be restructured, and then there goes all that progress, and now you got to start over from scratch again or something like that. And then you keep going through this and keep going through this for years. I can't, man. It must be miserable. Like you want to stay committed to what it is you're doing so that you can finish it and see it through, but when it seems like it's never ending, what else can you do? Like no one wants to be working on the same single thing forever. I mean, imagine getting a job at Ubisoft. This may even be your first or one of your earliest careers in the industry, and then you get assigned to work on either Beyond Good and Evil 2 or Skull and Bones or that Avatar game or something, and this is it. You've been working on one of these projects your entire time you're there. You start out excited, and as time goes on and the delays increase, you just lose enthusiasm over time. I'd be mad as hell, man. If I was in that position, if I was in that position, let alone for years on end, and I had nothing to show for it because neither game has released, and you don't have anything to show on your portfolio because you can't show off games that aren't released yet. So it'd be like you're wasting your time. So I can't even blame people for wanting to take sick leave or just even outright quit. Like it's rough, dude. I mean, at this point, man, honestly, just cancel the game at this point. Like, it's been in development for so long. It's gone through so many different changes and iterations, and directive leads have came and went. That what would the game even be at this point, even if it does come out? Like, I myself don't even want the game anymore personally. Like, it's too drastically different from what the original version of the game was meant to be. Like, because over the time this game has been in development, it's become a prequel to the first game. When it's originally, I'm pretty sure originally started out as a sequel, but I think at some point they transitioned it into a prequel. And I really don't want to play a prequel. I wanted a direct sequel because of how the first game ended and all of what happened there. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone that hasn't played it yet. If you haven't played the game, if you haven't played the first Beyond Good and Evil, honestly, I'd recommend it. It's pretty good, and I wound up liking it. But anyway, with how the first game ended and everything that went on with that, I'm more interested to see what happens next. So I really want a sequel to continue on to, see what happens to everything. But with it now being a prequel, I'm much less interested in it at this point. Uh, and what I think would be a good idea at this point, if I had any sort of say in anything, I would just say to just cancel the game at this stage, and then would be a good idea would just to turn the original vision into a book, like turn it into a book or a novel or a graphic novel or something like that. Just to give fans some sort of closure as to what happens next in this story. Get Michel Ancel back for a little bit, bring him back, and just have him take the original story or the original version of Beyond Good and Evil 2 and write it into a graphic novel or something. I think that would be the best bet for all of this at this point because the development of this game is just a mess. I mean, I would read that if they made Beyond Good and Evil 2 into a graphic novel. I'd read it. But yeah, I just wanted to do a video talking about Ubisoft and their trials and tribulations they've been going through the last few years. I don't know what happened to Ubisoft, man. Like, I remember back in like the early 2000s thinking they were a really great dev with the kind of games they were putting out back then. Even all the way up to the early 2010s with Far Cry 3 and Far Cry Blood Dragon and stuff like that. Yeah, they used to really be up there as one of my favorite developers, yeah, but they've really fallen from grace over the years. Now, I'm sure you guys know how I feel about Ubisoft at this point these days. But anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on Ubisoft these days? I'm StamacThird5 and I'm out. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.